I saw her laugh, really laugh, with someone else. Not just a curte smile or a soft giggle. It was that kind of laugh where her head tilted back, the kind she once saved only for me. They were sitting on a bench outside the coffee shop we used to call ours. The irony struck like a slap. I stood across the street, half hidden by strangers and a curtain of drizzle. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. I had convinced myself I'd moved on. That time had packed away the pain. But it came rushing back, raw, unfiltered, like an old wound torn open again. The guy beside her was unfamiliar, tall, sure of himself. He said something that made her laugh again. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, just like she always did when she was nervous. I knew that gesture. I knew them all. At least, I used to. That's what hit the hardest. Realizing someone else was now learning. The rhythm of her joy, the way her voice lifted when something excited her, how she liked her coffee, one sugar, and a hint of guilt. I tried to look away, tried to move, but my feet wouldn't listen. They felt rooted to the pavement. Memories came crashing like waves. Our first date, when she teased me about my playlist, when we sat on a nearby bench until 2 a.m., just talking. I remembered how she hummed while washing dishes, how she danced barefoot across the kitchen, like it was her private ballroom, even with morning breath. I remembered the night her dog died, how she held on to me like I was the only thing, keeping her from breaking apart. We were far from perfect. We argued over the little stuff, how I left the laundry unfolded, how she'd leave the lights on everywhere. But when it was good, it felt like home. Until it didn't. Things started unraveling quietly, like a thread slipping loose, in a favorite sweater. Barely noticeable at first, until the whole thing fell apart. She said she felt invisible, said I'd become distant. And maybe she was right. Maybe I got too comfortable, too certain she'd always be there. Then one night she looked at me and said, "I don't think we're growing in the same direction." That line cut deeper than I let on. We said we'd stay friends. But the silence grew in the spaces, where love used to live. And slowly, we drifted back into strangers. So there I was, watching her light up beside someone new. And I told myself it was okay, that she looked happy. And if you ever truly love someone, isn't that what you're supposed to want? I turned to leave. And then it happened. She looked up, right through the crowd, right through the noise. Our eyes met. Her smile faltered, just for a second, like she'd seen a ghost. Me, the man who used to make her laugh like that, the one who held her through anxiety attacks, the one who almost asked her to marry him, but never found the right moment. In that blink, the city disappeared. It was just us, two people standing in the ruins of what we once had, caught in a storm neither of us expected. I should have walked away, let it end right there, but my legs moved before my mind did. She stood up, said something quick to the man beside her. He looked puzzled. Then she walked toward me. No umbrella. Rain soaked her hair, smeared her makeup, but she didn't care. Neither did I. We met in the middle of the sidewalk, and for a heartbeat, the whole world seemed to pause. "Hi," she said, soft, simple, like she hadn't just undone every wall I'd spent years building. "Hey," I managed, barely above a whisper. She glanced down, then met my eyes again. "I didn't know you were in town." "I wasn't. I lied. Just visiting someone." She nodded. A strange silence stretched between us. Then she asked, "How have you been?" 1,000 answers crowded my brain, but all I said was, "Okay." A pause. "Better now." The words hung in the air, drenched in rain, regret, and something that almost felt like hope. "I saw you laughing," I said. "I saw you watching," she whispered back. And then she stepped closer. "I still think about you," she said softly. "Sometimes more than I want to, even when I'm with someone else, and it just feels off." Her voice trembled at the edges. I didn't know what to say. "You never reached out," I finally murmured. "I know." She nodded, her eyes bright with tears. "But I kept hoping I'd bump into you one day. Somewhere. Anywhere." I turned my gaze away, Not because I doubted her, but because I wanted so badly to believe it. And that scared me more than I could admit. Are you happy now? I asked. She hesitated. I'm trying, she said with a small shrug. But he doesn't see me the way you did. I wanted to tell her everything. How long it took me to stop staring at my phone, waiting for her name to light up the screen. How hearing her voice in a memory still felt like walking through a ghost. How every quiet room echoed with her absence. But I didn't say any of it. Instead, I asked, why now? Her lips curved into a bittersweet smile. Because when I saw you, she said, I forgot why I ever let go in the first place. The rain had picked up, falling hard now, but neither of us moved. You were always my favorite, she whispered. What if? Her voice drifted, like a question half-formed, caught between hope and regret. And that's when I knew this wasn't some grand return. It wasn't a rekindling. It was a breath of something honest. A still moment in the chaos. Maybe we'd speak again. Maybe we wouldn't. But standing there, drenched by the storm, I realized something. Real love doesn't vanish. It doesn't fade away. It just waits, tucked into the corners of who we are. Sometimes it hides. And sometimes, when you least expect it, it shows up again, on a rainy sidewalk, in the heart of a city, in the eyes of someone you thought was gone for good. To anyone listening, if you've ever let someone go, or watched them slip away, remember this. Closure doesn't always come wrapped in answers. Sometimes it arrives in silence, in the look you both hold for a beat too long, in a laugh that once belonged to you. And if they ever find you in the rain, don't be afraid to pause, even if it's just to feel it one more time.